The Selfish Path to Romance. Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com and at amazon.com.
Heidi, you're searching for a new job?
I am.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, this is the first time I've done my research since my divorce, my foreclosure on my townhouse, and I'm in the process of bankruptcy. And what I'm running into is many of these jobs are requesting background checks.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that these background checks are coming up with, the credit issues that are on there and the foreclosure and such. So in this job market, I'm sure it's kind of putting me right out there where I'm in the bottom of the basket or thrown out.
Okay, and that may be the case, right?
Yeah. So I guess, what am I going to do for work?
Ah, my gosh. What do you enjoy doing?
Well, I've sold real estate. So, I've been an independent contractor most of my life with real estate, and then I'm the independent contractor, which I would do inspections of homes and represent homeowners.
And you enjoy this?
Oh, I thoroughly enjoy it, and it pays well. And I had a rough year. I had a discrimination kind of situation with a vendor that I was working with that let me go just for reasons of unknown, truly. And so I emotionally crashed with that for part of season, which entails doesn't give you a whole lot of work. I had
okay, is that on will that be on your background check also?
As far as what? That I was like, oh, no. And the reason for that is being an independent contractor, I wouldn't believe it would be.
Okay, so you're worried about the foreclosure being on there, bankruptcy. Did you went through bankruptcy?
I'm right in the process of it.
Okay.
So, there's all these things going on, and it's like, if
okay.
I was an employer and I had the opportunity to see all that, I would certainly, I don't know how that pertains to
you come across as friendly, you come across as energized, and I think if you came across differently, I wouldn't even think twice if I were an employer. I wouldn't want you. If you came across and said, I'm going through bankruptcy and I don't know what I can do with my life. Can you hear the tone in my voice?
Yes, I can.
Instead, you come across with hopefulness. You're seeking help, and your story. If you level with them and you just tell that, if you're prepared that of course they can reject me, but you know what? If I level with them, they'll hear my energy. They'll hear my enthusiasm. And then I don't have to fear a background check, too. So one of the things you could do is to spread your net wider. Apply for many jobs within your field. And then tell them, I'm one of those, I was hit with, or you don't have to say I was hit with, because then you make yourself sound like a victim. Yeah. You can say, I went through a divorce and it ended in foreclosure, and I wish I could have done anything to prevent that. I couldn't have. We were partly hit hard financially, and I am so eager to get back to work. I love real estate. I love being an independent contractor. I enjoy the inspections, and I've got all this wonderful energy, and I'm looking for employment. You're more than welcome to do a background check and can ask me any questions on it. How do I sound?
You sound like, hey, I'm humbling myself here. I'm wanting to work for your company. It looks like something I very enjoy. However, I need to be upfront with you. The background check.
Right, and I
feel like I'm hitting a wall here with some of these things, and here's why.
Right, and I'm not, the word humble didn't fit with me because I don't want to come across as meek, and you don't come across as meek, Heidi.
Okay.
You want to come across just as who you are, just as, that it is difficult. Another thing that you have, I don't know the details. Did you have to go through bankruptcy because of the divorce? Or?
Well, it's a combination of because of the divorce, the emotional crash I went through. Plus, there was a business that failed in 2006.
Oh, so they're going to find a little bit. You will want to pretend that you're the employer asking yourself questions. Get real down and dirty with yourself. Okay, and help me understand this. Why did this happen and why did this business crash? Be prepared to answer those. You can even write it out on paper. You're not going to bring that into the interview, but you help yourself present yourself accurately. Don't lie. You don't have to. If your husband had an affair with. Yeah,
he did.
If he had an affair, you don't have to go into the gruesome details. I walked in and found them in bed.
No.
You don't have to go to that level, but
Right.
you do need an explanation. You can even say, "My husband had an affair," because
My
that
husband ended up being gay.
Oh, well, if you say that, I think that you're going to have people's empathy right away.
It was, it's a nightmare,
And you can also, there's a book, After the Affair, that's by Dr. Janice Abrams Spring that I wish you had had way back when. The subtitle is, it's on my website, drkenner.com, drkenner.com. The problem the book's subtitle says something to the effect of how to rebuild trust when a partner's been unfaithful. You're not looking to rebuild trust, but that book does help you put things in perspective, and it helps you understand why the emotional crash. I think it's a very good book, even for my couples who are never getting back together again. If there was an affair involved, I recommend that book. So that's an aside. Another thing that you have. If you feel responsible for part of the failures, I would just say, there are parts I wish I had watched the finances more closely. Of course, they may not want you in their business. But if you're very good at finances, name that. If it's your husband or if it's the fact of the divorce that led to the downfall, name that. There are people who
this industry is just,
Right. There are people who, through fault of their own, are going through foreclosures, meaning they themselves know they didn't have the money. And, they own some responsibility or full responsibility. There are other people who thought they were doing everything right and, got burned. So you don't want to misrepresent yourself. I don't think it's going to be shocking to someone to hear that you went through foreclosure. In fact, they'll probably say, "Yeah, my daughter went through that too," and it'll bring up stories.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to get to that point.
You need to build confidence in yourself. Listen, we're right at the end of time, but write down all the questions that you as an employer would ask you, Heidi, and then answer all of those, and then you're much more prepared to be interviewed, Heidi. Listen, thank you so much for your call, and I wish you wonderful employment.
Thank you.
For more Dr. Kenner podcast, go to drkenner.com and please listen to this ad. Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by Drs. Kenner and Locke.
Here's an example of how gender differences can cause conflict. Jeffrey loves Cindy, but he was frustrated with her. When she would relate a bad experience with her family or boss, why didn't she take his advice? And she was always trying to pry him open, asking him how his day went, what he was thinking, what he felt about this or that, things he never thought much about or even felt compelled to think about. He felt more at home with the guys on the basketball court where there was no pressure to talk or analyze everything. He felt drained by Cindy's conversations about their relationship. How would they address this common pattern among partners? Cindy would need to learn to be clear about what she needs, and Jeffrey could learn how to be a sympathetic listener.
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com and buy it at amazon.com.